Hi, my name is Dawson Smith, and this is my speech for COMM201 for the spring 2021 semester. Imagine waking up for school in the morning, bundling up in a big coat and scarf and gloves, and walking to school for the day. On your way out, you look to see how much snow accumulated from the night before in hopes that your shoes aren't going to make you slide all over the place on your walk. You begin to walk through the snowy path and check the northern lights forecast just for the slight chance that there's a possibility of seeing them in the sky. As soon as you enter into the university, you're greeted with an overwhelming aroma of coffee flowing out from the various cafes that students are lining up for a cup of. This was my morning routine in Finland when I studied abroad. Most all of us watching these speeches today are university students that are learning how to live on our own and become independent away from our parents. This is the ripe age and path of life to think about studying abroad and to plan about it for your future. I believe studying abroad should be required in university curriculum. So why does this matter? There is a strong need for the implementation of studying abroad within university curriculum. Without studying abroad, students aren't able to experience different cultures abroad on a first-hand basis. They are limited to their home university's environment and culture and can't develop a full scope of the world. According to Alan Goodman, the president and chief executive of the Institute of International Education and co-author of A Student Guide to Study Abroad, quote, "Learning how to interact with people from other countries and cultures equips future leaders in all sectors to address urgent issues shared across borders. Making study abroad a part of their education is the most effective and accessible means for students to develop needed skills because it pushes a student to get out of their comfort zone to experience another culture, language, environment, and education system." End quote. By studying abroad, students are able to become more independent and prepared for the real world in a way that staying in their home university can't provide. So, for all of this to be implemented into curriculum, a variety of things need to happen. First, universities need to make studying abroad more accessible to everyone and implement it as part of their tuition for a semester. So, one semester out of a 4-year bachelor's degree. People often associate studying abroad as something that's only achievable if you have lots of money or you're wealthy. However, that isn't the case. It has become increasingly more accessible through third parties, providers such as ISEP, financial aid, grants, and scholarships. These programs allow students that don't have large amounts of money, like myself, get abroad. Specifically with ISEP, your home university pays them for a semester at your host university, so the cost is no different than a regular semester at your home university. Second, as the world becomes increasingly more interconnected, universities need to strive to become more interconnected globally, not just within their own country. By requiring a student to go abroad for a semester, universities are promoting diversity, open-mindedness, global networking, and cultural inclusion. In return, more international students will become aware of the school. In more recent years, there's been a push towards this internationalization, and many universities are getting extra funding to push students to go abroad. So what does this look like? By universities implementing these solutions, there is now a clear path towards a more well-rounded means of education for students like me and you. With more students being able to go abroad, students will grow in their independence, see parts of the world they wouldn't be able to before, and gain a larger perspective of the world and all of its cultures. From a letter written by a student who studied abroad in Singapore, we are able to see the value that going abroad has. Quote, "Breaking away from the comfort and predictability of one's home environment opens the door to unforeseen dilemmas. These dilemmas need to be overcome. Teaching one to adapt and problem solve under stressful situations is important. While learning to solve problems in the context of a new environment, one also becomes part of a community abroad, expanding one's sense of identity from local and national to global." End quote. By requiring students to go abroad, students are more equipped with success in their future fields. According to Generation Study Abroad, a leading promoter of the value of international education, quote, "Globalization is changing the way the world works, and employers are increasingly looking for workers who have cross-cultural competence and cutting-edge technical skills." End quote. From my own personal experience, studying abroad in Oulu, Finland for a semester completely changed who I am as a person and as a student. Sure, you can view the world through a computer and have somewhat of an idea of what other areas of the world are like, but the actual experience of being fully immersed into a country and its culture is unparalleled. You can't compare it to anything. I became educated on how other cities work unlike my home country and what's different about them. I met people from around the world and heard viewpoints I hadn't heard before. I saw landscapes unlike anything from back home and was able to capture all of it onto a YouTube channel to then show others as a means of education about going abroad and what it entails. I engaged in cross-cultural conversations, and I grew to become more independent in a way that I couldn't if I just stayed at my home university. So we must call on our local universities to make studying abroad more accessible through implementing it into curriculum. Engage in conversation with your local university's international programs department about what can be done to promote going abroad as part of your curriculum. Just that one small conversation can lead to a bigger one and make a big impact at your school. Also, talk with those that have studied abroad before and the pathways that they took to go abroad. Studying abroad should be implemented into university curriculum to promote student independence, a broader cultural lens, and making international connections. What college student wouldn't want the opportunity to see a part of the world they've been dreaming about? Thank you for listening to my speech.